Hey, it's time for TV Skywriter.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to TV Skywriter. It's kind of an offshoot of the Durham Skywriter, Durham, North Carolina's online community paper. I'm Pat Murray, your host. I'd love to introduce you to people that I think are really cool that you should need to know. So we have two guests today, both from Durham. Now, again, you don't have to be from Durham to be on TV Skywriter, just letting you know. But it just so happens that my two guests are. And we have Ann Woodward going from, I don't know if it's left or right to left, but on one side is Ann Woodward from the Scrap Exchange. Raise your hand, Ann. And then we have Crystal Dreisbach from Don't Waste Durham. Welcome to the show, ladies.
Hi, Pat.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. So I want to start out making a statement. During our test run with Crystal, I heard some heartbreaking news that recycling is not necessarily as successful as we thought it was going to be, but that does not mean that we should stop recycling. But there's going to be sort of a new focus on reuse, and that's what we're going to talk about today with both Ann and Crystal. So who wants to start it out, Crystal or Ann?
Go ahead, Crystal.
Okay, I'll start. Thanks, Patricia. Yeah, I think that, our major recycling programs really started around the 1970s. Mm-hmm. And I think they were a really good thing because the 70s was when we started coming out with a great deal of food packaging, a great deal of new disposable cans and bottles. And so it's something that was really needed. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, I think that as we've come to find out, recycling is just not the solution that is going to help America with its trash problem. There's a number of reasons for that. The resources and the both, from the earth and from our pockets that go into recycling are just not sustainable, for one thing. Okay. And the amount of items that are in our waste stream that can be recycled are actually pretty few. And within the part of the waste stream that has the recyclables, you have a number of different types of plastics. You have paper, you have glass, but plastics, I think, is what the biggest concern is right now. You have a number of different types of plastics, but unfortunately, there's only a market for a few of those types of plastics.
Okay.
And it's recycling, as we all know, is pretty confusing. It's confusing for a number of reasons. It's because the markets change, and so recycling facilities need us to be recycling different things based on those markets. So it seems like the rules about recycling change all the time. And even though we've been recycling for decades, it's still not clear what can we put in the blue bin, what should we not put in the blue bin.
Sure.
So that's number one, very confusing. Number two, not everybody's doing it. And the stuff that makes it to the recycling facilities, the markets for those products, is just not, it's just not enough to cure us of our major trash problem. The average American produces about 4 pounds of trash every day. If you add that up just in Durham County, that is an immense amount.
Wait, did you say 4?
4 pounds.
Okay.
That's Americans. I think the global average is something more like 2 pounds. So we're nearly double the global average of how much trash we produce.
So with Don't Waste Durham, how are you fixing these enormous problems?
We're trying to attack these problems at a community level in a number of different ways. We're going after policy change. That's one way. But of course, policy change around recyclables is a little bit tricky in our current political atmosphere. So we haven't given up. We're also working on a number of programs that can help solve this trash problem from different angles. So for example, we have a sustainable food truck program that helps food trucks who, just by their nature, have the potential to create a lot of waste because it's very, it's mobile, it's temporary, and they're serving right there to a lot of people. And so they're using a lot of disposables. And we've got a great program right now that certifies and awards food trucks that commit to very low waste practices. And we hope to make that really become part of the norm in our community. And as far as we know, we're the only group in America doing this right now.
Wow,
So
that's awesome.
we'd love to tell them, or we want people to know about it. We want to be able to share and help other communities do this too, especially in a community like Durham where food trucks are such a part of our foodie culture and so beloved. I think it's really important that we work on sustainability with those food trucks.
Absolutely. And I would really like to bring Ann in, Ann Woodward from the Scrap Exchange. What's your take on recycling? And I'm hearing more about reuse. Could you tell us about that?
Sure. I think what we're talking about is, we're talking about waste and garbage in general and what that looks like. I mean, we can just zoom out a little bit, which is in Durham County, there's 270,000 tons of waste thrown away annually. In North Carolina, it's 9 million tons.
Whoa.
We start thinking about the United States, it's over 500 million tons. So there's a lot of activity related to consumption. We're the biggest consumers in the world. And I work for the Scrap Exchange, and we're part of the reuse industry. And what we really try to do is defer materials that can be reused in some kind of way. And just like Crystal says, there's not lots of materials that can be recycled. It's sort of apples and oranges when you talk about the recycling industry and when you talk about the reuse industry.
Okay.
Basically, recycling industries, what you're doing is you're promoting consumption because you want people to use up as much bottles, plastic, paper as you can, because those are for-profit businesses that are then taking those materials and commodifying them and then selling them to another broker. So you have to understand the recycling industry and what motivates the recycling industry, which is pro-consumption.
Okay.
It's not this circular economy that the reuse industry promotes. The reuse industry wants to keep those materials out of the landfill, and there's hundreds of materials related to the reuse industry. Materials that will never be recycled. There's no machine that will take these materials and turn and commodify it.
Sure.
So when you think about the materials in the reuse industry and how you get those materials and who can benefit from those materials, you're really talking about fulfilling people's basic needs. You can collect food, you can collect furniture, clothing. You can furnish your house. You can fix your house with the construction and demolition materials. And you can also learn skills and share tools and knowledge. So there's this whole indirect economy that happens from the reuse economy once you start figuring out what that economy looks like. I have to say job creation is a huge part of the reuse economy as well. We've been looking at some sector surveys, like Minnesota did a state sector survey, and there were only about 60,000 recycling jobs that were created statewide, and the reuse industry created over 77,000 of those jobs.
Whoa.
So a little bit more than the recycling industry, but having some data related to these industries, I think, is really important, because that's going to tell you where to put your resources and how to figure out public policy and look at research and analyze the numbers related to each of these industries and what the economic impacts are.
I wonder, because again, my mind was spinning when I heard that we should start thinking in terms of reuse, not as opposed to recycling, but as another alternative and as the preferred alternative from what I gathered. So when we go shopping, when we purchase just stuff, whatever, should we start thinking in terms of reuse at the purchase point, or should we just go on our business as usual, not worry what things are made of, and just purchase things as we need them and really hope that it won't be a waste after its use is over?
Such a great question, Patricia. Absolutely. I think in this day and age, a lot of companies are competing on price, and it's unfortunate because the lower cost something is doesn't necessarily mean it's the best, highest quality product that's going to last and be able to be reused, and mean that you won't have to continue perpetuating consumption by buying yet another product when that product breaks down. So what we'd love to see is people starting to appreciate or returning to an appreciation of quality. And companies can begin competing on quality again would be absolutely amazing. There are products that are built and sewn and made to last a lifetime or multiple generations. And when people can recognize that, okay, maybe buying a $300 product that's going to last 3 generations right now costs me more now, but going to a really low-cost retailer and buying a cheap product that's only going to last a year, it seems cheaper, but really the higher quality product is more expensive in the long run. So I think consumers have a lot of effect on these types of things.
I agree with you because I'm living in this house here in Durham. It's full of my grandparents and great-grandparents' stuff. I've only bought one piece of furniture since I've moved here, and that's it. We need a new kitchen table. But for the most part, the cheap stuff that I bought when I was a young adult is gone, has been gone for decades. But the stuff that lasts, the stuff that I'm using right now, they're more than 100 years old. A lot of the stuff in the house, the chairs, the tables, the beds, they're my grandparents' furniture. They're super good quality. I don't know if they're expensive in their day. I don't know. My folks were far from rich. But I think you're right. I mean, they bought quality stuff. And, that put together furniture, the cheap stuff, that doesn't necessarily last. So I really agree with you. Another thing about reuse in terms of, as opposed to just going cheap, my grandmother, whenever she went shopping, instead of just accepting the plastic bags or back then the paper bags, she would take her own. She had some big, colorful Mexican straw bags. And we always knew grandmother was going shopping because she had these straw bags that she would bring the food home in. And even back then, she was thinking in terms of reuse, not being wasteful.
Well, I think one of the things that Don't Waste Durham is doing to, we're trying to create an easy way for reuse to enter the Durham community. We're also doing it as a way to raise awareness, is our Green to Go program that I want to talk about a little bit. Everybody eats. In Durham, we love our food. Mm-hmm. And so far, we've had a great reception from the restaurants are really excited about jumping on board. It's a reusable takeout container program. And it's going to allow people, residents of Durham, and businesses in Durham, all their employees, to use reusable takeout containers instead of disposables or recyclables or compostables. And
okay, now how does this work? So if I'm eating at a restaurant and I say, oh, may I have a large to-go box, then I will actually get a box that I am expected to bring back? Is that how it works?
Essentially, yes. So if you're a Green to Go member, which is a $25 annual fee, which is very affordable, you'll have access privileges of using this service. You'll get your takeout or leftovers in a Green to Go box. It's a very highly durable number 5 plastic that can withstand up to 12,000 washes in a commercial dishwasher.
Whoa.
And
you don't happen to have one close by, do you?
That's why, in fact, I do. Here it is. It's this particular model is a clamshell box, very similar to the kind you might see mm-hmm. in the styrofoam type that you get your
nice
or your leftovers in. except for this one is really, really durable and watertight and really sturdy.
And you were saying that styrofoam isn't necessarily good for our health, right?
It's really not. We have a giant amount of evidence that says that we really got to ditch the polystyrene foam, or better known as styrofoam. Takeout containers and cups. It's really awful for the environment. It breaks down into the tinier and tinier pieces that are consumed by animals and make their way up the food chain and hurt animals and us. And then it also leaches a probable carcinogen and neurotoxin called styrene into our food, especially if the box or container contains hot food or food that has fats in it, which is most of the food we like to eat is hot and fatty. So, it's really bad for our health. And because of
we take the boxes back, and then do we have to wash them out, or do we rinse them out and bring them back, or what?
They would kindly to rinse them before they put them in the return bin. Basically, the customer will check the box back in, and that box will be washed and sanitized in a commercial dishwasher off-site and returned to the restaurants for use by the next customer. So someone described it as it's kind of like Red Box for food, if you're familiar.
Okay. I think we can get used to that idea. Yeah.
Well, it's actually not something new. So we're really not reinventing the wheel here. They use it in lots of universities, in their dining halls all across the country, including some of the ones local to Durham. NC Central, UNC, Duke University, and NC State all use these boxes, same reusable boxes in their dining halls. They've been doing it for years and with great success, and they've really cut down on their trash. And so we thought, why not in Durham? Let's try it. They do it in Portland and San Francisco, and we want Durham to be the first city on the East Coast.
Awesome. I think we should get behind this for sure. And Anne, congratulations on acquiring, what was it, like 1 million square feet?
A little bit, slightly less than that. So the Scrap Exchange is a nonprofit creative reuse center. We are the largest in the country, and we have just purchased an additional 80-some thousand square feet. So now we own 107,000 square feet, 12.5 acres, and our goal is to create this reuse arts district that really does embody the reuse industry, creates jobs, helps people understand a sustainable lifestyle related to consumption and thrift. We're going to put in thrift, artist studios, artist exhibition space, marketplaces, architectural salvage, tool sharing, which I'm really excited about because I realize that, we've learned from other folks that have tool sharing programs around the country that what you're really looking for, if you need a drill, like how many holes do you need in a year? And it's usually like 2 holes. Usually you drill like 5 minutes out of the entire year. You need like 4 holes. So having this sort of shared space for people to come and use tools is going to be a very exciting component of it too. We're going to create a maker space, and we already have a wood shop and welding shop at the Scrap Exchange and a design center. Ooh. So really teaching people how to make things, how to be creators instead of consumers is part of our message around this district as well. A Recycle a Bicycle program, changing transportation. People have, there's big obesity issues that we have of people having unhealthy lifestyles. So really helping communities understand that there are good choices around consumption, being active, food. We've started our community garden as well. So having permaculture and fruit trees and having people understand where their food comes from. So we're hoping for this campus to really embody sustainability related to how we live our lives and have good choices is what we're really going for our community.
Did you ever think that, 25 years ago, when you started at Northgate Mall, that you would grow like this? This is incredible.
It is incredible. It's, Yeah, who knew? But we're excited. I mean, we've been ramping up for the last, I don't know, 15 years. We've really scaled. We are a job creator in our small little industry, and we employ 12 full-time people. We issued 80 W-2s last year. Our Reuse Arts District Plan has a lot of jobs associated with it. And also what happens at the Scrap Exchange is people actually come in, like similar to what you're doing, Patricia. They're sourcing materials, inexpensive materials, and they're making their own businesses from the materials that they're purchasing at the Scrap Exchange. So we're helping to create innovators, entrepreneurs, secondary markets, cottage industries. Those are all sort of industry terms for what's happening with, you know, the folks that come in and get the materials and then make a product as part of our whole operation, which is exciting.
I totally love it. I totally love that. I mean, I'm at the point now where I go to the Scrap Exchange just about every week because like yesterday, I bought this gigantic stainless steel bin, like 3 feet tall, for my walking sticks. And it wasn't there last week. I mean, I never know what you guys are going to have in the store, you know? It's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, we're on a high throughput activity now. We're seeing over 4,000 drop-off donations, and we have these national partners called Cascade Alliance, and their goal was to create 10 partners in 10 cities to help create jobs through waste specifically. So we have a whole new attitude since in the last couple of years. We're taking all kinds of stuff that you probably would have never seen in our center, but now we've sort of expanded the materials that we're collecting, and we're also making more money, and we're able to employ more people that way.
Love it. Thanks so much, Anne. And Crystal, I know I wanted to end with you because I think you do have a crowdsourcing campaign going on right now.
We do. Thank you, Patricia. We are funding our startup costs for this green-to-go reusable takeout service using Kickstarter. So if people would like to find out more, even if they just support the idea of reuse in principle and could support this great cause, they should go to DurhamGreen2Go.com. That's DurhamGreen2Go.com and pledge their support. We've got about 23 days left to go, and we're only 33% of the way there. So we could really use some love. And I want to give a shout out to Anne of the Scrap Exchange. The Scrap Exchange is a corporate sponsor of the Green to Go program, so they're going to get some really cool benefits. All of their employees will be Green to Go members, and they'll have their very own return bin right at their facility and a regular pickup service for the dirty boxes, so they'll be able to feel great and feel green all the time. And this is really something we want to, even if people don't use the service, if it's there, it's going to be helping plant the seed in people's mind to choose reusables over disposables. And that's really what this thing's about, to try to move a small way to move our society more toward reuse. And I think people with kids might catch on the quickest, because it was thanks to the children that recycling caught on the way it did, in my opinion. So true. Yes. Yeah, kids seem to catch on to these things quicker than we adults. I want to put a plug in also for Don't Waste Durham. If anyone out there is interested, we have open meetings that are open to the public, and we welcome everyone to bring their ideas, questions, concerns, suggestions about everything related to reducing waste, reusing, composting, and recycling. And we're going to have a meeting this coming Tuesday at the Emily K. Center at 11 a.m. And we've got some very exciting guest speakers, including City Council Member Steve Schewel will be there talking about the waste reduction goals for the City of Durham based on a very cool waste characterization study that came out earlier this year. And we've also got a guest speaker from the City of Durham Water Management Department. Who's going to talk about her work in water conservation. Awesome. And Anne, you have a really fun, adventurous website. Could you tell us how to find the Scrap Exchange online?
Sure, you can go to www.scrapexchange.org, and we are excited to be a corporate sponsor for the Green to Go containers. Crystal, I'm thrilled. I just want to put out that we are also a nonprofit, so it doesn't matter if you're a for-profit or nonprofit. You can participate in the program, and I think it's a really great thing for companies to do to as you said, help spread the word to their employees and help organizations be more sustainable. We have 2 events coming up: Smash Fest on Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, from 3 to 7. Bring your family, come out and break some breakables. And we also have...
And some people feel like breaking some stuff right now.
Yeah, and it's a good time to do it. And we have, next month, we have our 25th anniversary, and we're opening up a time capsule that's been in our building, or outside of our building, for 50 years. So celebrating that 50th anniversary of the Center Theater. Talk about reuse. We're reusing a theater into a creative reuse center. December 16th from 6 to 9 p.m. So come and be part of history if you're in Durham. Another fun family event.
Awesome. And then Crystal, tell us how to find not only your website, but also the site for donating and adding to your campaign.
Yes, thank you. So we're at durhamgreen2go.com, and that's for the Green to Go reusable takeout container service. We also can be found on the web at don'twastedurham.org, and that's our Don't Waste Durham group. We're also on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Okay, thank you so much, ladies, for being on the show. Ann Woodward from the Scrap Exchange and Crystal Dreisbach from Don't Waste Durham. And I'm Pat Murray from the Durham Skywriter. You have a beautiful day or evening, and I'll see you next time. Ciao for now, and thanks again, ladies.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Ciao for now.